right. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone, from wherever you're joining us. Apologies for the delay, but we've sorted out all of our technical issues. On behalf of the Embassy of Switzerland in the United States, I want to thank you for joining us for our July 2024 edition of the Swiss Film Club. My name is Emily Buss, and I work in the public diplomacy section at the Embassy. And the Film Club was created now 4 years ago. We're in our fifth year at the very beginning of the pandemic to create moments of shared viewership and to share the work of Swiss film artists. And we're very, very happy that it's been able to continue going to this day. So thank you for keeping the program going. And for this July 2024 edition, we are screening The Love Stories of Liv S., which follows our protagonist Liv as she wanders the streets of the city after an argument with her boyfriend, reflecting on her past relationships and how she can move forward. And I'm so glad to be joined from Switzerland today by the film's director, Anna Luif. And I'll provide a brief introduction and we'll get into some questions then. Anna is originally from Zurich in Switzerland and has a degree in film studies from the Zurich University of the Arts. Her short film Summertime received a Swiss Film Award as well as many other international awards at festivals. And she has directed feature films Little Girl Blue and Madly in Love. She currently teaches at the Zurich University of the Arts, has previously taught in Lausanne, and is a prolific screenwriter and director as well. And this film, The Love Stories of Liv S., has received a lot of acclaim at the Chicago International Film Festival here in the US, as well as at film festivals around the world, including the Solothurn Film Festival in Switzerland. So with that, I'll jump right into it. Anna, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thank you
All
so
right,
much
so
for having me and showing the film. I'm very, very happy. So that's nice.
yes. Yes, and if people haven't had a chance to view the film, it's still available through the weekend. So if you watch the discussion later. So I wanted to start at the beginning, Anna. What was the inspiration for telling this story on film? And I'm curious if there are many autobiographical elements.
Well, actually, yes, there are. So I had like 10 years ago, it was really quite long time ago. I just wrote kind of on paper, kind of some little scenes with my boyfriends. And then my former boyfriends, like, and then I found this paper and I was like, I kind of liked somehow this listing of, and this, so as the idea was born. And then, but then, of course, I kind of took my life as the anchor and the core of the film and the story. But then it took me for a very long time, for several years, to write the story because, of course, it's not just like my story. I tried to create something universal and kind of, but always knew very, very well what I was talking about. So that was very nice with the writing process, but also with the actors and with everybody, because I really kind of knew who is who follows who, what is Liv trying, what is she looking for. This was really kind of based on my own experiences like that.
And okay, and I'm curious to hear also about the more of the process of filming, about the casting process, and also I know that there was a delay in filming because of COVID, so I'm curious to hear if that changed the film at all.
Yeah, so we were really ready in March 2020 for the pre-productions. We had like everything was there, like the financing, all the actors, and we was just starting to look for the locations and kind of to do the pre-production. And then COVID came, and then we were on Skype. We were always every day kind of really trying to keep the work going on Skype. So we did like these huge mood boards, like every day, another bigger mood board for the locations because we couldn't go there because people would not even pick up the phone. Just when we were trying to organize something, nobody was, yeah, like everybody knows. So then it took us like 2 months back and forth, and then we decided just to postpone it a whole year because we knew that we're gonna need summer, and we didn't know how in 2020 how it was going to continue all this. So then we just, and that was very hard because I was like afraid that I maybe could never do the film. But then we kind of had like a year more for preparation. And then it was really nice because like 95% of all the people, like crew and cast, were there in the next year in 21 when we shot then in June and July. So I mean, actually at the end it was, and the weather was much better because I knew kind of 2020 on July 1st we should have filmed this, and it was raining kind of all the time like this year. So, and next year in 2021, it was much better. So we had like the great sun always. And so, in many ways, it was kind of good then at the end. So,
That's good.
that we have these pictures full of sun is really also a little bit because of the postponing of the whole. Yeah.
So some good things do come out of it, and as you say, it's this very sunny, very. I'm glad we can show it in the summer. It's a very appropriate film for summer. And one of the things that I really loved about the film is how much you can see the love of cinema in it. I can tell, it's by someone who loves cinema, about an aspiring filmmaker. And I'm curious, I'm thinking of the dream sequence when she sees Luc again and the use of some of the music. So I'd love to hear about your cinematic inspirations generally, or especially for this film, and some of the choices that you made in filming certain scenes certain ways.
Yeah, I mean, there is like kind of think two big inspirations, and one is kind of the Italy of the 60s, like the Italian films of the 60s from Fellini and Antonioni and those great filmmakers, which were very important for me when I write, but also when I film. There's even a quote from Dolce Vita from Fellini when she puts the head on her head. And she says, like, Marcello, this is kind of a direct quote from La Dolce Vita from Fellini. So this is very strong. And then the other strong influences are American filmmakers, like some like Robert Altman. I just love him. But also, of course, like these the indie American indie like Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig, and also Woody Allen, like in this trying to really tell something about life that we experience and we know, but also try to always tell it in a funny way and with irony and with distance and with play. So these are my main, and it's very really important for me, kind of. So I'm very happy that you saw it. That I really try to think in cinema and in the films I already know, and also take them to build my own cinema like that.
Yeah.
That's very
Yeah.
important.
I love that. I think it just makes the film, it feels warm and really inviting that way. And then Liv is narrating a large part of the film. She's talking us through her past, but then we also have these characters who are providing commentary on her thoughts or offering their own stories. And could you speak about the decision to drive the story through narrative or through these comments from other characters?
Yeah, it's just a joy to do something kind of playful and play around and just mix up reality with dream and these kind of I just really love. And yeah, like those filmmakers I just mentioned, they do that, and it's just sometimes I just write something down and like they start speaking, and because I like it so much I just keep it. So yeah, and it's all about memory. So it was also about to being trying to be or being a bit more free when you have these structures. I mean, sometimes the people they speak to her is in the now, but still somehow it's very much a film about memory. So you can be or even dream. So you can be. I try to be more. I want it to be more free, just than to have this something very realistic. I wanted to play around and
Yeah.
yeah, also because she jumps somehow back and forth in her life, which is remembered now by her. So it's not a linear storytelling.
Right.
So
Yeah. And sort
yeah,
of the other people are pulling her out of her own head as she goes around.
exactly.
Yeah. So I'm curious to hear from you what you think Liv's true ending is, because for me, I felt we reach an ending and it seems happy, but it felt a bit open to me. It felt a bit that it could be vague. So I think, maybe not what exactly her ending is, but did you have a sense of this is the ending, or that things could keep going? Is she really happy after this exploration?
Yeah, I mean, I have a very clear ending because I kind of go back to the start. So with the same pictures from the waters, she jumps in, she sees John, and for me, the ending is really that what she learned, that she should not run away anymore. She should stay up, she should show up and be there and just try the relationship with John, which for me is very much a happy ending because relationships are so difficult. And the older we get, the more we experience. I find that it's really difficult. Also, staying together with somebody for a longer time. So, but then she decides to go back to him and to be there and to try. And that for me is a very happy ending.
Yeah.
It's maybe modest, but for me it's honest. And yeah, so that was mine. That she goes back to John and she doesn't run away this time. She wants to stay, she wants to try it, and she's there, and he as well. So
It's great.
that was mine.
I also prefer the happy ending, however modest. And I should say also, if anyone watching live has a question, please feel free to put it in the chat or in the ask a question button, and we will get to it eventually. So next question, and it's interesting you talked about the weather and how things had improved, but the setting for the film is incredibly picturesque, on the water, wandering around the beautiful city, but we're never told exactly where it is. So I'm wondering, that was a very deliberate choice on your part to keep it universal. And then maybe if you can also talk about, because you're from the German speaking part of Switzerland, but this film is a French language film. So if you can talk about that decision.
Yeah, so that's related because I'm from Zurich, so I speak Swiss German. So I started to write my script in German and Swiss German dialogues. And then I somehow did not find my leave. And then we changed the language. And first, we wanted to change this, it takes place in Zurich. So first, we wanted to change the language and the city. So we thought, let's just do it in French in Geneva, because my producer, the production company is in Geneva, and we're going back and forth. And but then somehow we thought, no, why actually? Because I really wrote it for Zurich. All the places I wrote Langstrasse and I wrote some parks. So we said, no, let's do it in French, but in Zurich, which was kind of a risk because people told us like, yeah, maybe, but that's weird because that doesn't really exist. But I'm very happy because now it's kind of my city. I wanted to portray with my actress who was kind of the perfect lead. I did not, and with the perfect language, I must say, because I find this kind of love film in Swiss German is sometimes not so easy to make because Swiss German is a much more uh, quotidien, in langue quotidien from the everyday. And
Yeah.
French is already kind of a fiction and love language. So it was much easier to do it in French. Yeah, so that's why. But at the end, we did not want to be really so Zurich with the Grossmünster and everything. And it's somehow it's funny, kind of like the both cities like Geneva and Zurich and Lausanne, they have like all these. They have the lake, then they have the mountains, then they have those cities, those streets like the Langstrasse or the, yeah, which are kind of this, yeah. So that's this mix.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's great. You can tell it's Switzerland, but
Exactly. It's Switzerland.
yes. Um, so we do have a question from Charlie asking about the protagonist navigating complex relationships that challenge her perceptions of love and commitment. How does the film use visual storytelling and cinematography to reflect Liv's emotional journey and the evolution of her character? And maybe talking about specific scenes or techniques.
So I don't know. I mean, it's all over the film, and we kind of special techniques. For example, there's this. I'm not sure, Charlie, if you've seen the film. So, but there is, for example, like this ideal fairy tale love scene where we change the aspect ratio. So we kind of are like this, and then we go this, like you go more cinemascope. And so this technique we used. And then it's a lot of quotes. Okay, great. So you haven't seen it yet. So I'm very happy if you're gonna see it. That would be really nice. And then it was the light is very, we were very, very kind of my cinematographer. His name is Timon Trappi. And me, we just love and worship sunlight. So that's why we're so lucky in 21. We had like a sun like always. And he uses this Gegenlicht. What's the name of the when the light comes when the camera is here and the light comes from the opposite? So
Yeah.
kind of the I don't know the name in German. It's Gegenlicht. So we worked a lot with this light, this beautiful light, just making. But there we were also very lucky because we had the sun, and then we had a very strong concept of color, which is called the three color rule. So we had like in the main sets, we tried to have only green, kind of red, orange, and brown. And we had blue for the sky and the water, but we really tried to concentrate very much on these three colors. And of course, it's not always working. Sometimes some extras have like blue jeans, but we were like making kind of rules also for the extras, for the clothes colors. And the set designer, he was creating everything just in these three colors, more or less. So that was very important for us, just for the look and the style of the film, because we wanted to have this little bit fairy tale word, because it's all these memories. Kind of, she tells us the memories, and it's not one to one, it's not realistic, it's something out of her mind. And we tried to create this with color a lot also. So this is, yeah.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I think that's really powerful as well. You see the progression. So, yes, Charlie, I very much hope you can watch the film this weekend. What is one thing that you really hope viewers take away from the film?
I mean, for me, it's always very important that they are, when they are there, while you're watching the film, that you feel something. That's what I always hope, that it's about emotions, and that you can laugh is also very important for me. And then taking away, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, a warm feeling maybe. So I was in Cairo and it was so nice, and they had this masterclass with like this young Egyptian. Some were cinema students, but some also not. And then they were sitting around me, and then one very young man was asking, so what if you could kind of describe Leave in one word, what would it be? And I was like, I don't know. And then he said, warm. And then I was like, oh my God, thank you so much, because that's the best for me. If it's
Yeah,
warm, it's already,
no, that's wonderful.
yeah.
I agree completely. Um, and just getting to a couple of last questions here. So if anyone else has a question, do feel free to put it in the chat or the question area. Um, Moving away a bit from this specific film, but I would love to hear your perspective as a female screenwriter and a director on the progress that's been made, especially behind the camera, on women having more roles in film, on gender equality in film more generally. What, in your perspective, still needs to improve, and are you hopeful for the future?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very hopeful for the future, because there is really things really changed already. Like, let's say, even I work like in the industry for 20 years, and it changed so much because there's so many more women directing, and also DOPs, but still not enough. So it has to just go on kind of big time, because it's a good start. But and also, for example, some of the film festivals, I think there's not enough women kind of choosing the films. Also, distribution somehow in Switzerland, maybe not in. Also people from the cinema who own the cinemas. I see many more men. I mean, there are women, of course, but kind of like the whole thing. So yeah, but I'm very hopeful because it already changed. So that's very good. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I also think that it's so clear that people want to see women on screen. I mean, the topics and there's so many great actresses, and I'm a bit worried. I find it a bit difficult for the male roles. I would kind of hope to have, because now I find male roles very difficult. There's not either. They're very, I don't know. I really hope for kind of more interesting male roles.
Mm.
I don't know, kind of
Yeah.
in a, yeah. But I can't really say it's specific. It's just a feeling I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. Every role needs to evolve in some way.
Exactly, and also together and not against each other. That's for me
Hmm.
very important.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Thank you
Yeah.
for that perspective. Um, I have a last question for you, but then we may have another question about have you considered exploring opportunities and documentaries? Maybe not just about skiing, but do you? Yeah, is there something particular that always draws you towards fiction films, or are documentaries of interest as well?
Yeah, it's a really funny question. So the thing is, my I'm come from Hungary, so I'm like a second generation. So skiing is not really my special topic. So documentaries about skiing, no, not me. But I'm sure there's like many other people who maybe. And documentaries, not really, because I'm really drawn to fiction because I am when I make a portrait, for example, of somebody, I would always have this guilt thing that I'm not good enough. It's somehow that I want something from the person I'm portraying and then I'm not good enough. But I know this is my problem. It hasn't to do maybe with the other, but I have this thing that I always think, what am I doing with? And when I write a script and pay the actors to choose, they chose this role to, so then I'm really fine with this. Oh my God, I'm kind of doing something. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
a reason why I'm not so into documentary. I would always
yeah.
have the thing that I couldn't be good enough for, I don't know, for the people I portray or just steal something, steal their souls or. But this is especially me.
Huh. Well, and I think Switzerland is so strong in documentary. Traditionally, there are a lot of great documentaries coming out of the country, so it's actually nice to have some fiction films as well.
So, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Great. Well, I have one last question for you, and that's what are you working on next, and what can we be on the lookout for from you?
So I'm working like on this one. I'm working on two features. One is about four women in midlife crisis. So they are
Mm.
already older than Leave now, like me. So it's about four friends who are in midlife crisis, and that's all I say now. But it's very beautiful because they are kind of so stuck, and then they find ways to escape or to, yeah. So, and it's about this very difficult time, but also interesting time in the menopause and midlife crisis.
Mm. Mm.
And
Great.
one is a mother-daughter relationship story.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we will make sure to look out for that, and hopefully, it will be available in the U.S.
Yeah, of course.
Eventually.
Yeah, it's gonna
Yes.
take another year. So
Yes. Yes. Well, please keep us informed about that. And with that, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today, for speaking about the film, for sharing the film with us, and your perspectives and your thoughts on it. It's much appreciated.
thank you so much for watching the film and having me, and that's nice.
Right.
And for
Well, and
those of
thank you to all
you,
of you.
I would love to you to go and see it. That would be really
Yes.
nice.
Yes, yes, yes. We have a lot of people who have viewed the film already, and as I mentioned, if you haven't seen it yet, it's available through this Sunday, July 14th, and it's a great, especially here in Washington. It's very, very hot, so if you want to stay inside and watch a film, this is a perfect weekend activity. So I encourage everyone to do so. Um, And with that, on behalf of the Embassy of Switzerland, I want to thank you all for tuning in, for watching the film, and for, again, keeping this program going. We really appreciate the support and your interest in the wonderful Swiss films that we're able to screen here, and work of directors like Anna. And if you want to stay tuned for our next edition of the Film Club, you can follow us in our newsletter or on social media at Swiss Embassy USA. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anna. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for having me. Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.